We're working on finding the missing sides of triangles using our special right triangles. And so I want to work through these 4 sample problems that we worked on. I want to point out to you that you should keep this chart handy that we handed out in class, because this is an easy way to find the trig values for those special right triangles. So I'm going to keep that in my back pocket over here. The problem I'm going to work on first is number 5. And in number 5, we want to find out what u equals and what v equals, and then choose the right choice there. So what we do on these problems is we always start by identifying our angle, which is 60 degrees, and then we want to label our side. So the opposite side is the u is opposite, adjacent is v, and hypotenuse is 10. To solve for letter u first, I just want to use the opposite and the hypotenuse. And I remember that sine is the opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of 60 degrees is going to equal the opposite side, which is u, over the hypotenuse, which is 10. I pulled all that information off of the triangle here. Opposite over hypotenuse. And I used opposite and hypotenuse because I only wanted one variable, so u is my variable, and that means I needed to use 10 as the other part of the ratio. Now, we're not going to use a calculator to get the sine of 60 degrees. We're just going to use the chart. And the chart says that the sine of 60 is square root of 3 over 2. So the square root of 3 over 2 goes in place of the sine of 60, and then we're just going to solve this equation. All right, now to solve this, you simply multiply both sides by 10. So these cancel, and then the 10 and the 2 cancel to a 5. So I find out that u is 5 square root of 3. That's half the battle. And remember, this is multiple choice, so we might as well go check and see which choices have u equal 5 square root of 3. It looks like right now I'm down to C and D. So I've narrowed it down to C or D, but I'm still going to have to solve the other part of the problem, which is the v. So for v, I notice that's adjacent over hypotenuse. That's cosine of 60 degrees, because that's the ka of SOHCAHTOA. And that's going to be v over 10, adjacent over hypotenuse. And again, the way you solve this is you get the chart. You get the cosine of 60 off the chart. That's 1/2. And we'll solve 1/2 equals v over 10. This time when we multiply by 10 on both sides, we get 5. So I come up with v equals 5. Now that should tell me what the final choice should be. Let's check this out here. So I have u equals 5 square root of 3 and v equals 5. That is letter C right here. That's our answer. So we weren't sure if it was C or D, but now we know. D is out. Oops. I meant to cross that out in red, but I hit the wrong button. Let's do this. So D is out. So C is the right answer on that one. Okay. All right, so far so good. Let's go ahead and attack number 6. So on this slide, I will solve number 6 here. And I start by identifying my angle again. So 60 is right here. The opposite side is the 3 square root of 3. The adjacent side is the v, and u is the hypotenuse. So if I want to solve for u first, I'm going to do the sine of 60 degrees is opposite over hypotenuse. So that's going to be sine 60 equals 3 square root of 3 for the opposite over u, which is the hypotenuse. And then I go to my chart. The sine of 60 degrees is the square root of 3 over 2. So I replace the trigonometry with a number, square root of 3 over 2. And what I get is one fraction equal to another fraction. And one way to solve these is with a proportion by cross multiplying. Or this is a proportion. We solve by cross multiplying. So I'm going to do u times the square root of 3. That's u square root of 3. And I will do 2 times It's 3 square root of 3, which is 6 square root of 3. And then to finish this off, you just divide both sides by the square root of 3, and we get u equals 6. U equals 6. That's our starter there. So we're halfway done, and let's see if that helps us. The problem is 3 of these answers have u equals 6, A, B, C, and D. So I only ruled out 1. So I'm going to go ahead and throw 6 on my hypotenuse, and then now I have to worry about solving for v. I want to avoid that square root of 3 if I can, so I'm going to do adjacent over hypotenuse since I know the hypotenuse, which is cosine 60. So cosine 60, adjacent would be v, and hypotenuse would be 6. And then let's do the cosine of 60 degrees. That's 1/2, so I get 1/2 equals a v over 6. And when we multiply both sides by 6, we get 3. So I get v equals 3. And hopefully that's one of our choices. U equals 6, v equals 3. And it is. It's letter C again. So that's not very interesting if 2 of our answers are already letter C, but it is. So this one's letter C. Okay. 2 down, 2 to go. Let's attack number 7 on the next slide. So we're going to solve number 7 on this slide. Oops, I don't want to cover up my numbers. It's hard to see there. So I start by identifying my angle, which is 30 degrees. And then the y is the opposite. The x is the adjacent. And this funny number 4 square root of 6 over 3, that's the hypotenuse. So let's try and get the x first. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order. So that would be adjacent over hypotenuse. That is cosine of 30 degrees equals adjacent, which is x. And I'm going to make a complex fraction, but don't panic. 4 square root of 6 over 3. Okay. Now, we have to replace this cosine 30. If I go to my chart, the cosine of 30 is square root of 3 over 2. And that, remember, equals this weird complex fraction, x on top and 4 square root of 6 over 3 on bottom. To solve this, we will multiply both sides by 4 square root of 6 over 3. And let's do a little simplifying. The 4 can turn into a 2, and this 2 goes away. So this is going to be 2 square root of 18. I get x equals 2 square root of 18 over, is that a 2 on the bottom? I can't even, no, that's a 3, over 3. All right. Now, I don't see that choice on my multiple choices. I don't see anything with 2 square root of 18 on it. That's because we need to fix the square root of 18. The square root of 18 is actually the square root of 9 times the square root of 2. And we can do this square root of 9 and turn that into a 3. So that's really 3 square root of 2. So this 18 here, the square root of 18 is 3 square roots of 2. This 3 will cancel with this 3, and so x ends up equaling 2 square root of 2. Okay. Now, I'm in business because there is only one answer that has 2 square root of 2 for x. So that's good news. I think the answer is A. We should probably verify that, though. So we're going to say this is A, but let's just double check and make sure. Let's go ahead and solve for y. To get y, and I'm going to have to squeeze it in down the middle here, we need to do the sine of 30 degrees. Actually, no. Let's do this. That fraction, nobody likes fractions. It's giving me the business. Let's do the tangent of 30. So we need the opposite over the adjacent. The tangent of 30 would equal the y over that x that we just figured out, which is 2 square root of 2. Let's see if that helps us. So first we have to go to tangent of 30 degrees on the chart. Tangent of 30 looks like it is the square root of 3 over 3. Right, square root of 3 over 3, and that's going to equal y over 2 square root of 2. And the way we solve this is we multiply both sides by 2 square root of 2. So these guys cancel, and then I got to multiply that together. And you multiply those numerators, so the final result for y, even though I'm squeezing it in here, is going to be 2 square root of 6, because square root of 2 times square root of 3 is square root of 6. So 2 square root of 6 over 3, right? This gets multiplied there. And yes, that is true. It is still A, so A is the right answer. I wanted to verify it, even though my multiple choice skills told me it had to be A because of that first answer. You just should verify to make sure. So feeling really good about number 7 now. The chart is a mess here. The slide's a mess because I'm doing math all over the place, but hopefully you can make some sense out of this. Let's go ahead and attack number 8 on the last slide. Okay, we're going to go to work on number 8. I always start by identifying my parts of my triangle. So the n is opposite. The m is the hypotenuse, and that means this fraction here is the adjacent. Let's go ahead and try and get n first, even though that's not alphabetical order. That's because it's the one I'm looking at right now. So the sine of 60, I'm doing sine because I want opposite over, oh, I'm not doing sine. Oh, jeez. Let's try this again. Okay. How am I going to get rid of that stuff? You guys hear the bell there? I'm in the middle of 6th hour trying to do this thing. Okay, I've obviously made a huge mistake, but I'm too lazy to start over. So here's what I'm going to do. Cross that out. We're going to use tangent. The reason I'm using tangent is I'm going to do opposite over adjacent. So tangent of 60 degrees is going to be the n over 2 square root of 3 over 3. That's a complex fraction. Do not panic. We have to find the tangent of 60, so I go to the chart. What's it say for tangent of 60? It says square root of 3. So I'm going to put square root of 3 where the, oops, how about this? Oh, this is a disaster. Square root of 3 equals n over 2 square root of 3 over 3. Multiply both sides by that fraction to get rid of that, so that I can isolate n. Okay, and this is going to work out good. Square root of 3 times square root of 3, this right here, that's just 3. And that 3 cancels with that 3, so n turns out equals 2. I like that answer. We don't get enough answers that look that simple. So now of course there's 3 choices with n equals 2. So we're stuck with n equals 2, but that's good. That's a good place to start. So let's put a 2 here for my opposite. And then for m, we just need the hypotenuse. So we can do sine for this one. That's what I started to do before things got weird. Let's put that over here. Sine of 60 is going to equal opposite, which is 2, over m, which is the hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. 60, sine of 60, off my chart is square root of 3 over 2. Square root of 3 over 2 equals 2 over m. I can cross multiply, and I get m square root of 3 equals 4, and then just divide by the square root of 3 on both sides. Now, you won't find 4 over the square root of 3 as part of our answers. We have to rationalize that denominator. So I'm going to kind of do that up here out of the way. To rationalize 4 over the square root of 3, we have to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3. And when you do that, on top we get 4 square root of 3, and on bottom we get square root of 3 times square root of 3, which is 3. That means that letter A is the right answer because no, that doesn't look right with the letters. Are my eyes deceived me? Did I do the wrong letters here? Let's see what's going on here. I have n equal to 2, and I have m equal to, oh yeah, that's right. I had it right. Well, you're not getting my A game today, but we did get to the right value here. All right. So m was 4 square root of 3 over 3, and n was 2. That would be letter A. Whew, I made it. Those problems are a little long. We'll have to rethink how many of those we want on our quiz, but at least now you can see that this is how you're going to work them out. Keep up the good work. Let me know if you have questions. Take care.